Hello, I'm Zoran. I'm a filmmaker, flaneur, and cultural bridge builder, and I'm about to step into unknown. Stepping into unknown can be described as grand, for me cinematic, like an epic scene in a film. But for me, stepping into unknown is sometimes less dramatic. It is open, at times lonely, and quiet, and profoundly full of possibility. I think back early in my life when my family decided to leave my homeland and move to Canada, how they stepped into unknown, trying to create something for my brother and I. That moment shaped me for who I am right now. Next unknown moment was starting my art career and attending Emily Carr and trying to figure out what will I do. My art career, visual art career, allowed me to travel the world and go, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's okay. What I was doing is, my visual art career allowed me to travel the world and go to places like Costa Rica. And why there? Because I heard about Beto, eccentric, self-taught artist who, and that's me. A self-taught artist who creates, this is Costa Rica, who creates world out of his dreams and recycled objects. I planned this unexpectedly, and I was on the first flight to Alajuela in San Jose to learn about this artist and how he dreams and how he creates. If you happen to be in Costa Rica or anywhere in Latin America, and if you ride any of the carousels, you're bound to be on one of his carousels. He's the person who built his own home, has all 3 generations of his family living under the same roof, creates these wonderful horses that are all throughout Latino America, and he's passionate, and he is a true dreamer. He even crucified himself on a cross because he was doing religious monuments, and he wanted to know what they take. For 6 hours, he would be dangling on a cross and trying to figure out all of this stuff. With him, I ventured to the jungle of Costa Rica to learn how he dredges the silt under the riverbed and brings it and casts these beautiful little monuments and little like figurettes. And that's him on the rough rocks playing with a stick. Or he finds these abandoned objects and he makes something of them. This is one of the big strawberries that he actually created out of the rebar and nothing else. He created the statue of Virgin Mary, 15 meters tall. He wished it was a little bigger than that. That's him. And what I learned while working with Beto is that you have to rely on your instincts, because that makes the connectivity with a person. You can control. It's uncontrollable. He's a devoted husband and a father to his kids. While I was with Beto and I came back to Vancouver, I was also developing a short And then that short became a longer feature. And that was Friends Like These. And despite despite the independent scene being small in Vancouver, I tried to organize a really good selection of actors and friends to work with me, and I created this bold, independent feature, Friends Like These, that we premiered at several different film festivals and got the awards. With no large crew, with a really good crew and a script, we were able to make this together. My work is created in different places. And those places, whether that's in Vancouver or internationally, is always about the crossroads, a cultural crossroads. Here I'm on part of the Thought Train Collective, which is composed of Charlene Wickers, Chango Cummings, Connie Zabo, Mira, and myself. And we work with Cambodian youth to create across nation a live presentation of arts and culture. This was live. It was at the same time in Vancouver and in Cambodia, and we used internet to connect and do the cross. At the center of this is connectivity. It's what we as artists we're trying to do. We like to connect and we like to share the experience in our work. We work with dancers who never danced before. I was able to screen my film, my other short film, Rolling Stock. We work with other youth who also wanted to be part of this larger program. At Arts Umbrella, we presented our work, collective work, as part of. My work also took me to China and Wulong, and that's where I had a much broader sense of what's happening in cultural and the art world. I was in Chongqing documenting short stories with different international filmmakers, and I ended up being in Wulong. And Wulong is the area where the tree grows. And one of the locals asked me where I'm from, and I said, I'm from Canada. And this fine gentleman said, Canada? And then he said this. And those are the moments I cherish the most, because those are the moments that are spontaneous, with no pre-planning, no hesitation, that just come out and people share those moments. In Wulong, I met Tuja people, and they communicate by singing, and that's their communication. They had over 60,000 songs, but now they dwindled down to about half of that. And the Chinese government is trying to preserve their songs because that's the way of communication. So I ended up being in a tea fields with a Tuja elder who was singing to his people the songs they were learning. They made a welcome for me. I'm just a simple filmmaker from Canada, but they greeted me with open arms, and they wanted to share the stories, and they wanted to present. That's me and my colleague Theo, the filmmaker I was working with, and our Chinese translator and a guide, Bang. And these are the people dressed in their attire and their custom garb. I went to Tunang, which is a place full of culture, preserved just because it was on a map when the Japanese bombed it in the Second World War. When I said I mentor, I don't teach, because I believe in knowledge sharing. And because film is a communal language that doesn't need translation to speak truth, tenderness, love, rage, or hope. In China, I was asked to talk about cinematography and Canadian filmmaking. And that was the communications. Most of the students spoke English, but they were also curious about how we work together. When we are asked what's in the unknown, we are maybe a bit confused, and I think this question needs to be reframed. I think we should be asked what we are carrying into the unknown. I believe that visual arts gave me that answer. It allowed me to carry memory, imagination, and questioning. And at the same time, it gave me courage to carve up the space, not just for me, but those people who I work with. In the unknown, I found freedom. And in arts, I found the community. Thank you very much.